Hello.
How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good
I tell
afternoon.
you, I would agree without a doubt, Cowboy, that he is the legend. Clint was phenomenal with that fiddle. I watched in Haw one time in Nepal when he was at two different times. His fiddle competed with the speed of the guitar, and then the next he did with a dancer on who was faster, the fiddle or the feet. So it was amazing to watch Clint in action. So I've
Hmm.
always had the greatest respect for him, and he is without doubt one of the legends that we know. We have some giant names attached to some of our great fiddlers, and Clint for sure fits in that category without a doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and so does the rest of the families. I heard he name all the families of legends of music and throughout. And Chartrands are famous for politics, not for singing.
That's true.
Anyways, oh, by the way, the Lavalies are from St. Ambrose. You'll get them upset if you say
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
They're from St. Ambrose.
Okay, thank you for correcting.
Yeah. Anyways, I just got back again. I was in Ottawa. I went to two things. I met the minister, Jerry on a Sunday, and the now the treaty is now complete. It's sent to Parliament. We're waiting for the transfer from English to French, and to ensure that the wording is exactly the same, that is not stated with a different purpose, with a different language. So I got a meeting with the minister, and it's now official.
Oh.
I just sent a letter to him. We received it yesterday. So now it's the actual document is now officially inside Parliament. But we all know that Parliament will probably not resume. That's of course given all the action we're seeing in the political spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
We got a madman to the south.
Mm-hmm.
I watched him yesterday. I was, if any Ukrainian was watching and friends of Ukraine would have just been disheartened to see this man take
Yes.
advantage of the president of Ukraine,
Oh.
trying to take away his minerals and his resources of value of minerals,
Mm-hmm.
and throwing up numbers which, in fact, has been proven already in different reviews that is lying. Those numbers are not real. He didn't give $350 billion, and it wasn't even him anyway. It was before him and Biden. So, but he's laying claim. He just says things, and
Mm-hmm.
then the Republicans pounce on that, backing him out that J.D. Vance is just a puppet. But when you look at it, this guy could just say anything, and he just thinks he can just keep on getting away with it, which he is getting away with it. Let's understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And like trying to say Canada can be a 51st state, like sometimes you got to watch his words. He's got a strategy to push that agenda and hoping that he could make Canada 51st state, because they're after our minerals, they're after our water,
Mm-hmm.
and clearly our oil. And we have mines, we have all kind of different things that we have on a go for us. We have some of the richest natural resources in the world. And so with him, of course, he knows his country's in trouble when it comes to water and other commodities. And so he's not fooling around with his 51st state. If he could pull it off, he would. If he could attack, he would.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it, our allies would step in, and Europe would come in, and as we went to them, maybe they'd have to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
Our people went overseas to fight for them,
Yes.
and maybe we'd have to come and fight. They'd have to come here and fight with us, and Mexico would probably attack from the other side. So I think the United States may have a strong military force, and I think more of their military forces on their nuclear weapons, and they sure as hell just can't use them. Even Russia can't just use them. There's certain provisions in the world that guide that process. So once someone uses it, then of course the world is probably going to come to an end. But again, I just watched in dismay when I watched how he was beating up on Zelensky, and that one reporter. I couldn't believe the audacity. That's why a lot of Americans, there's a lot of good Americans. Trust me, I know a lot of Americans myself personally. They're nice people, but that reporter attacking him on national TV, international TV. On top of that,
Yeah.
Attacking him. Don't you have a suit?
I
Why
know.
you come in here dressed like that? He
Yeah.
always dresses that way. He dresses like because he's in warfare. He's in the military warfare. He goes in the battleground with his soldiers. So he dresses the way he dresses to send a message that he's in warfare.
That was awful.
And they attacked him for not wearing a suit inside there to meet with Trump. Like, it is unbelievable. The people could get away with it, and And that's why Americans will be hated even more and more and more. And unfortunately, the good Americans will pay the price for the bad ones.
Right.
And so it's just, it's like all these racists that come out when they have a chance, they see a right leader in place, they'll come out. Yeah. And they'll do protests, they'll do violent protests, they'll use different military tactics to try to hurt others. So, and they come out, they hide all the time and until there's really a leader that, believes the way they believe and that they believe that might is right, So again, as Canadians, we're never going to back away, and especially the Métis. We've proven ourselves in wars internally with our own country. We've proven ourselves by being some of the top military brands that going overseas to fight and fight for people we didn't even know. So our power lies really within our heart and our soul. We don't give up, and we will fight to the end. So clearly, we know where our position will stand, and Canada's getting ready for its fight. It's going to start off with steel and aluminum, and from there, it could transform itself into different commodities. And so I just met with the Premier yesterday, along with some of the top business people in Manitoba, a lot of them that own massive assets when it comes to, employees by the tens of thousands overall when you look at the business community. And so they too are concerned in the effects. How long is this war going to take place? It's going to be, of course, an economic war, not a military war right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it'll ever get military, but if it ever does, I know Canada will back away. So, but when you look at it from the economic war, it's going to try to hurt, and it will hurt. And I expressed to the Premier yesterday and all the business people is that right now already the economy is hurting in its own context. We're trying to find our way out of it, where the price of food is so high compared to what it used to be, and how the big multi-billion-dollar companies are still taking advantage of the poor and the weak and the unorganized structure that's in place to manage the affairs. Even the eggs, just to tell people in Canada, the eggs in the United States are not fictitious when you see those numbers, like $14 a dozen. Mm-hmm. That's not made up. That's really what's happening in the United States. There's a big egg war that's happening over there. So it doesn't that we pay here $4, $5. They're paying $14 American. That'd be like $20 a dozen for us here in Canada. Jeez. So that's happening in right now in the United States. And this Trump says he'd fix it all in a day when he got elected. Now he's there for over a month, and the eggs prices keep on rising. Right. So you see that when you have a price war, a commodity war, a lot of things can get affected. So we got to watch it. We got to be prepared to fight the fight. And I think once we stand together, not just the Métis, but all of us, First Nations, and all Canadians and Manitobans from all race and all society, we stand together. We'll be able to make a dent in the American economy. Yes. And that's when the pressure will come to Trump, because now the people will start to argue. Mm-hmm. Right now, the people don't see no pressure. They just could let him do whatever he wants to do, right, until it hits their pocketbooks and hits their fridges and hits their cupboards. Mm-hmm. Then it'll change the very essence for jobs. So again, we're getting ourselves ready at the Federation. We'll be doing a full analysis of all of our purchasing powers, where we're buying all of our products from. We're looking at options now already to, for example, we use a lot of Apple. We're looking at different IT world to see if we can get different maybe laptops and other computers made from Europe. So we're searching right now. We're going to do it tomorrow. But what we're doing is we're preparing ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're preparing everything. So when we go to the store, even my own conscience now, when I go to the store, I look at where the product's being made. Although the war is not yet started, but it's going to start. I'm looking at products and it says USA, I just put it back and I look for something else. Yes. So it's that, one person doesn't make a difference. Two people doesn't really make a difference. 1,000 people start to make a little tiny difference. Mm-hmm. 10,000 people start making it. 100,000 make a hell. It starts to really feel. 1 million, and now we have 38 million in our country. And we start doing it all together, I guarantee you Americans are going to feel it very quickly. So we need to do our part as Métis, Indigenous people, First Nation. We have to do our part. I know sometimes we can say to hell with it, to hell with them, let them fight the fight. But actually, we're fighting the fight for everyone. So it's not just for the businesses. It's not just for the Métis government, First Nation government, or Canadian government. We're fighting the fight for the citizens and families. Right. Because they're the ones that are going to get the hardest hit overall when the commodity fight starts to happen. So, like, this guy is causing a scrap for nothing. He's just causing a fight. And he thinks he can break us as Canadians, and maybe we'd say we don't like our country. Maybe we should become American. Maybe that's his strategy. Yeah. Trying to punish Canada economically, so we can say, well, maybe we're better off to be Americans. Never in a million years. I'll die Canadian for the rest of my life. I tell, and so my family. None of us would ever want to become American. If that's the case, I could apply for dual citizenship a long time ago. You want to be American. So, we're Canadian. We're different.
Yes.
We're kind-hearted people. We have big hearts, and we care. And Manitoba is one of the kindest provinces in this country. So I'm very, very proud of our beautiful province. So anyways, I'm just trying to educate my people right now, overall, that listens. Get ready. Start looking at your product yourselves right now. We'll give you a signal. I told the Premier we're waiting for his message, his marching orders, also for a new Prime Minister that will be coming in. They're thinking it's going to be Carney right now. That's going to win the leadership for the Liberals. And the polls have shifted dramatically. Unbelievable shift.
Oh, good.
It's actually the Liberals are in the lead now in Canada. So the Conservatives were in a big point, a double-digit lead. They've dropped dramatically. And so Carney is the one that's pushing because Carney, for people's understanding, Carney actually has a very strong economic background. He's governor of the Bank of Canada, governor of the Bank of England. So he's a very, very smart man when it comes to economies and comes with knowing how finances need to be looked at. And I had a good chance to chat with him and talk with him about how we fit in. And there's no doubt, he said the Métis are part of his plan, and so is the Indigenous people. So he's not going to definitely leave us out. So again, I'm hoping the same will come out. I know I met with the Bloc when I was in Sean Sebastian. I'm saying his name wrong, and it's kind of my accent. But Millie and Sebastian, we met with them in Ottawa. And the Bloc are actually big supporters of the Métis.
Oh.
And also the Cree. They support the Cree of James Bay Cree up the north. Big supporters of the Cree. They have a very strong affiliation. They believe in sovereignty and that Indigenous people have the right to sovereignty, and so do we. But they're a big fan of Riel, and they believe strongly that Riel protected the French language and gave his life for that too. So they have a strong affiliation to us. So we are definitely continuing to meet with the Bloc. All those they're classified as separatists. They want to separate from Canada as their own country, and that's why a lot of people distance themselves from there. That's one of their agendas. But their other agenda is to ensure that people like the Métis have their fair and just position in Canada.
Okay. And
because of the past position of the Métis in the West, they have a strong affiliation to our people. So they actually are strong supporters of our treaty. They push that strongly. So we'll continue, and actually we're talking about a statue to work to put one in Quebec to thank them for standing up for the murder of Riel. Because we all know he was murdered. There was not a question about it. That was a fake court situation, and at the end they murdered him. They wanted him silent. So they're willing to support us in getting a statue put in the Montreal Park, where 50,000 Quebecers in 1870 joined together to protest the government of Canada for killing Riel. And if you look at that number, really, it's like probably 500,000 people today would have been gathering. So it just tells you the magnitude of the size of the population at that time. 50,000 people were protesting the murder of Riel. So these are all Quebecers. So
that's wonderful.
It is, yeah. That history can't be forgotten, and so it's important. So we had a chance to, of course, meet with them, and then I said I meet with the government. And I'm reaching out to the Conservatives too and see if I can meet with Pierre Poilievre. I have not gotten the green light from that yet. I met with NDP. They're still strongly supporting our treaty. So is the Green Party. We'll call it that. They're supporting our treaty also.
Okay.
But we also were there for another business. Of course, the late Jim Aldrich passed. He was the lawyer along with Tom Berger, who fought for 32 years for us in the courts and won our land claim. And Jim was renowned to be one of the top experts in this country when it comes to Section 31, our land claim, and Section 35. They fought for the Nishka and won the Nishka case in Supreme Court of Canada in the 70s. So he was well known for his intelligence and his mind, along with Tom Berger. And of course, Jim actually probably knew more of the history than anybody else when it comes to Métis history on our land claim. Because he was in archives for years looking for artifacts and documents to connect the dots to show how Canada robbed us of our land and did not fulfill its constitutional obligation. So we went to honor him. We went and met his wife and his family. And Nishka were there. and so were the Inuit, because he also represented the Inuit people.
Okay.
So he was well known. We took our own great musicians ourselves. Michael Odette comes from a very famous family, and himself is going to be a legend in the future. And Troy Flamand. And, Michael can make that fiddle sing, and Troy just can make that guitar rock.
Yeah.
So they did a superb job on our behalf, and showing, again, to the family of the Aldridges our honor and thank you for being there and fighting for us all these years. And July they did opening prayers. So Eileen and our sons and their family, as we again, our condolences to the Métis people. We again expressed our true appreciation. I put a little sash with a pin in his cremation box, and so he'll be probably heading back to France. He was living in France, but he's still representing us someday. He'd fly here to go to court on harvesting. He was representing us in harvesting cases and so forth. So he's definitely one of the, we talk about legends. Him and Tom Birch are guaranteed known in the legal community as legends. They were brilliant lawyers.
Outstanding.
Now, on birthdays, we got a happy 91st birthday going out to Gustave. I did announce it last week, but it's worth announcing again. 91st birthday to Gustave Boudin, Saint Eustache. It's coming from Debbie Forgy's father, coming from Debbie and the rest of the people at Saint Eustache, and coming from me personally, from the president and our family and the rest of our nation. Happy 77th birthday is going on to Kenny Danielson, and celebrate his birthday on Thursday, February 27th. That's coming from Derek, Buggy, and all the rest of them that are here. Actually, they're going to the Philadelphia Flyer game tonight. These are all Philadelphia fans. They're absolutely crazy about Philadelphia. I don't think Kenny's a Philadelphia fan. I'm not sure. But I know his sons are. They live and breathe Philadelphia. So, and yet their team never makes it, but that's okay. They can still dream. Anyway, so happy birthday, Kenny. Happy 40th birthday is going to Rob Conway, Elsie Bear's Kitchen. She's, of course, his birthday, 40th, so he's still a young man. Happy 31st birthday going to Dustin Panson. Actually, he's away Hill right now, but he's getting better. He's our policy analyst. You always see him around with me, and so he's turned 31. Happy 26th birthday is going to Kyra Delaron. So, Kyra, happy birthday. You'll see her always somewhere in meetings, regional especially, or national or provincially. Happy birthday is going to John Coutras. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Redford Métis Business. So happy birthday, John. And I don't think it says his age here. No, he's one of those people that want to hide her age, I think. And happy 47th birthday going to Desiree Gillespie. I just seen her yesterday in my office. I had a meeting with the Premier, and one of the issues was child family. And then I had a phone call with Nahani Fontaine. And Desiree was in my office giving me some further updates from Carla. And so she got a new haircut, by the way, short hair. I think it suits you, Desiree. So happy 47th birthday. So also we signed a big agreement on the mining announcement with PADCOM, and I really want to express my gratitude to Damon. He's the owner of PADCOM, and it's a potash company. It's called Potash and Agri Development Corporation of Manitoba. It's by Russell, Manitoba. And we've known for a long time. Past history in radio, I talked about this potash that exists near the Russell in the mountains in that area, the hills, I call them.
Okay.
And we know that studies have been done in the past, and there's been proven fact there's a tonnage of potash there. Oh. Very high grade potash. And for everybody, what the hell is potash? Is not potatoes. Potash is actually a mineral. I have to do my own research to figure out what the hell this thing does. But I've been leading some discussions on this for over 20-something years now, because I think there's a magnitude of opportunity that exists there. And I know everybody knows potash in Saskatchewan, because you see the big pink giant hills. Right. That's the remnants of the leftovers after you take the potash out. But potash is absolutely needed in the world. There's over 8 billion people in the world right now. 8 billion. So the direct analysis tells us right now, pretty soon the world cannot feed itself. It just can't. The soil is now nearly all dead. It's been used and grown too many times. Too much different fertilizer has been applied all over the world. So, and of course, after you take the oceans out, you take out the swamps, you take out the forest, you start taking out the mountains. You start taking all that out, then you see how much soil you really have to grow. So the chances of the continued population growing is that the world cannot feed. The only way it can continue to survive is by refurbishing the soil. And one of the key ingredients to refurbish the nutrients of the soil is potash.
Oh,
It is. Without potash, your potatoes, all your stuff is not going to grow. That's why you see people using you see the spraying, but the potash chemical, and there's two other ingredients that come together that make it as powerful as it does. So it re-nutrients the soil enough to grow your crops. So potash is always going to be needed. It's going for I think $400. What the hell call it a tonnage? But it's not to a ton. It's there's a different phrase, but it's very high in value. And so right now, Russia used to dominate that market. They no longer dominate it. So I know the Saskatchewan government is big time in support of potash. But one of the things that they don't do in potash is what I see here. That Damon, who's a new beginner, new owner, he's not digging holes like you see. If you go to potash mine in Saskatchewan, they dig miles down underneath the ground. Okay. And you'll see massive machinery there. What he does is he uses water and salt and other stuff that he uses. There's a fluid that he puts down into the ground. He pumps up the potash and does little damage to the environment. So according to all the analysis they have, they showed us that the impact to the ground and to the effects of the environment is minimal compared to what you see when the big machines are just digging miles down.
That's wonderful.
But what's so wonderful about this is Damon Gillis is the president of it, but he also owns the Russell Inn. So this is a self-funded business that he created, and he's something he's been working on for several decades now, and it's become now reality. So, and one of the things he wants to do with his fortunate situation is that he wants to show his respect back to Indigenous governments. And so he sat down with us, and Lauren was leading on for our behalf, Lauren Pelch at the office, and Marcy was also working there with him. But Lauren was our lead on negotiating with Damon. Damon wanted to give back. Right now, he'll give 8% of the value, not at the top end, not the bottom end, the gross and net. He'll give us the province 8% of his earnings before deductions.
Oh my goodness!
So he's now signed an agreement to recognize our government as a royalty, and it'll give us 1% of that. I'm not even supposed to say a number. It'll be 1% or more. So, anyways, I'm not supposed to share those numbers. I just made a little slippage in my. You didn't hear that, anybody listening?
But that's amazing.
Yeah, but it'd be forever. But we're also going to invest millions into the second phase of his mine, his mining system. We're actually working with him on that. And Wes Anderson actually was there. He's one of our secretaries of Pelly Trail Local in the Southwest region, but he's also a counselor of the RM of Russell and Vince. And so, but this was a showing us again that, this guy really has a passionate heart and a good soul. And usually what had happened is you'd have to fight with them. And First Nations are good in telling you the story like we do. We'd have to fight, and we get they call it an IBA. It's called Impact Benefit Agreement. And then you'd end up with that. And what would prove with that is what were your losses, what is the value of those losses, how does it impact you, and what does it cost? And then the business would try to compensate you with some form of with financial resources or some way of giving you back your possible losses. And that's how they come to numbers and arrangement. What this guy has done is that forget the studies, forget anything. I know who you are. I know you're a government. I'm going to treat you like one, just like I treat the province of Manitoba. I'm going to give you a royalty, automatic. So that's I think he's working with the Gambler First Nation also, but it just shows you that the possibilities of a new formula, a new way of doing business. Because as Indigenous people, we always got to fight our way in. Nobody just invites us and says, "Come on in, you're going to be our partner." No, you got to fight your way in. And then try to give you a few odd jobs and give you a few little pieces of some support. And we've been walking away from that a lot. We've been fighting against that because it's not good for us. And usually it's just a short 1 year, 2 year benefit because you get jobs for a couple of years and that's it. So we need longevity of that relationship and the partnership. So I think this is a good example. It could be done. And one day somebody will come along and they'll buy out PADCOM, and they will. It'll be worth so much money, a lot of money. And that new business will probably be somebody from overseas somewhere, from big mining industry, whether it's in Brazil or somewhere else,
Right.
will come and buy, and they will give a care about us. So it's we got to make our way in when we have a chance now, and I thank Damon for his open heart, his open, passionate philanthropist style, and he just wants to make a difference and help out. So I really, really appreciate that. So I was really proud to sign their agreement yesterday and make it official that we're a partner.
Well, that's excellent, and it's win-win.
It's a win-win, I'm telling you. Now, right now, Thompson Regional is having a meeting right now as we speak, and I'll be joining them at 1:30 through Zoom. I got in late yesterday, and then I had meetings with the Premier twice. I met the Premier twice yesterday.
Busy.
And then I couldn't get to Thompson. I usually drive, and I would have been leaving at 5, 6 o'clock at night, and then I would have been getting there like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So I said, no, I can't. I'll kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be my body's getting older. I used to be able to do that like nothing, but I got to watch now. Can't push myself too hard.
And we need you.
Thank you for that. But I want to join them by Zoom at 1:30. So that meeting's happening right now, and there's a lot of issues. One of the things I spoke with the government too is that as we expand our harvesting rights in the practices of our ways of horticulture, we know we can show without doubt our territorial use of lands all the way to Churchill. That's not a problem. We can show that in any court case. But one of the things I do appreciate with the government and I were talking, and that they're going to do consultations with the First Nations because that's our relatives, and we should consult with them. There's not a question about it, and I'm sure they want to consult with us because I still believe, I said in the show so many times, I don't know why it is that we're fighting against each other on certain aspects of even the use of our practices of natural resources. We pick berries in the same place,
right?
Like at Kettle Hills, our family's been picking berries there for 100 years, and so is the First Nation. But all of a sudden they're telling us we can't go in there. Like, why? Like, where is this coming from? Like, where's this? This is not the Indigenous way.
Right.
So I'm hoping one day we get beyond that and start, standing up with each other, supporting each other, and working with each other. And I think it's the best way to do it. So, anyways, I'll be joining the meeting shortly with Thompson. But I want to say a special hello to my baby. She's listening right now, and she better be listening because she's going to go look for her dress, her graduation dress today.
Oh,
and
special. It's
going to be pink. She wants pink.
Oh.
I hope she finds one. She has 4 months, apparently, a notice to find one. And apparently it's very, very hard because everybody's looking for their graduation dress now. And so, and we're not going to go she was going to go to the States, but that's not going to happen. We're not supporting the States in any capacity.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. So she's going to look for one starting today and hope she finds the right one. And she plans to become a lawyer, and I'm so looking forward to that. I'm so proud of my granddaughter.
Goodness.
And she'll one day, my baby, you might be the president. And,
wonderful.
And you'll have to defend us. So you need to get your education, get your place in where you understand business, where you understand law, and that you have to defend your people at all opportunities that come your way. If you're a president, you move all personality aside, and you'll fight for your people no matter where they are, who they are. You fight like hell for them.
And she's been taught by the best.
I will say goodbye and thank you for finding me, Cowboy. And next Saturday, I hope I'm in Manitoba. I've been doing so much traveling lately, and I just hope to stay home, and I really want to stay home. So with that being said, thank you for covering for Naomi. I understand she had to leave for work. And to our elders, again, thank you for your guidance, and thank you for your prayers. And again, to our youth, everything we do right now is for you. The plan is to make it so good in the opportunities for your children and your families in the future, they not struggle as we have done and as your parents have done, all the rest of our parents have suffered the price to make our lives better. Our job is to make the next generation's life better. So that's my focus, and I want to make sure the MMF is in a solid place when I do leave one day, and that the next leader will have the greatest opportunity to do the best he can, or she can. So with that being said, I'll talk to you guys next Saturday. Take care, everybody.
And many thanks for all you do.
Thank you very much, Ollie. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll talk to you. See you, Cowboy.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Take care, Dave. Thanks.
Enjoy the day.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.